Hey everybody, and welcome to week 1 of class. So before we get started, I just want to remind you that if you have not yet done the introductory video and looked at the syllabi, please be sure to do that. It's going to lay some groundwork for you. And if you haven't yet looked at that, my name is Professor Scott Keys and I'm the instructor for this course. But if you have looked at that content already, then you'll know that. What I want to do is each week I will present to you a video just like this, sort of highlighting and detailing what the week's going to cover, and I'm probably going to provide just a little bit more content here, no more than 4 or 5 minutes, just to sort of add some supplemental information to the material that we're going to be looking at. Okay, so for this week, we're actually going to be looking at content which sort of predates European settlement of the Americas, and what we're going to be assessing are a number of indigenous tribes, Native Americans, if you will, who flourished both in North America, what is now the United States, and in regions of what is now Mexico and Peru in South America. And so the reason why I do this is I think it's important to recognize the civilizations that existed and predated European settlement. I am convinced that what the Europeans discovered, although it was new to them and they discovered it for Europeans, the land itself was not empty. It was not without people groups, right? And I think one of the things we're going to look at this week is to understand that there were a number of different languages, religious institutions, social institutions, all in place long before the Europeans ever came to what would become known as the Americas, right? The traditional narrative has Europeans discovering this continent in 1492 with Christopher Columbus, and that is of itself a problematic narrative because Columbus did in fact discover what would become the United States, nor is it even named after Columbus. In fact, the Americas are named after an Italian explorer by the name of Ameggio Vespucci, whose name was taken, Ameggio. It was Latinized, feminized, and we get America. And so I just want us to think about what life was like on the Americas prior to European settlement, right? And one of the other things that I would say here, and it's something that I'm convicted about, other historians and other scholars might disagree with me, and they have valid arguments to support their positions, but I think when we talk about the Americas as a frontier and as a place in which folks came to settle, it really does not provide an accurate image, because the area that the Europeans came to stay upon, particularly the English, because that's really where the history of the United States comes out of, it wasn't a frontier. A frontier denotes this idea that there's nothing there, that it's a wilderness and it's empty and it's void. And that's not really the case. Not only is it not the case because there were in fact physical people already there, but they had religious and social and cultural and economic institutions which suggested more of an advanced civilization. Now, some of these groups were more advanced than others. In fact, some have regarded California Indians, for example, as being reminiscences of a Stone Age, which in and of itself is somewhat problematic. But we can talk about that later, talk about it in my California history class, shameless plug there. But I think it's important that we recognize the words that we use, because a lot of times when we use words like it's a frontier and we came to settle the wilderness, really what that does is it reinforces the idea that there was really nothing there, and that's not the case. So that's really what we're going to be looking at this week. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on that. And one thing I would also say as we start, each week you do have discussion boards that you have to answer, and most often, although you might want to be aware of this, but more often than not, your main post will be due by Thursday at 11:59 p.m. And then your subsequent post would be due by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. And the reason I do this is I want you to be able to get through the information early on and then have a couple of days to be able to think through your thoughts and ideas. When you are responding to another student's post, you must go beyond just simply restating what they've said or saying, I agree, or providing basic critiques. Now, you are free to critique people, although much of that work will be done by myself, as that's what I'm paid to do. But you must critique in a very non-threatening manner. And so if you are going to disagree with somebody, make sure that you are absolutely respectful to them and attack the argument, not the person necessarily. I've had some issues with this in the past, so just make sure that you are respectfully disagreeing, but I welcome disagreement. I welcome different and varying opinions, so bring those on, okay? But that's what we got this week. So guys, I hope you enjoy this content, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Again, make sure you've read the syllabus, make sure you've watched the intro video, and then also there's a link on the homepage about what it is I'm looking for concerning discussion board posts. And there's also some information in the syllabus on discussion board posts, so make sure you look that over. All right, guys? All right, I'm going to leave you as I always will. So go in peace, be warm and filled. May the force be with you, live long and prosper, and may the odds forever be in your favor. Have a blessed week, guys.